Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Long Island Legends podcast, the only podcast dedicated to showcasing the most legendary people in our Long Island community. And today, I am joined with Realtor extraordinaire,
Thank you.
Eliot Lonardo. A little bit of background on Eliot. So he's a lifelong resident of the town of Huntington, a graduate of South Huntington's Walt Whitman High School, first-generation Italian-American. To graduate in college, you secured your real estate license in 2004. In 2018, you joined Signature Premier Properties, and in 2024, you were the #1 agent in the office and was ranked number 9 in the company out of 100 agents.
No, out of 1,800 agents.
Out of 1,800 agents. My fault. Eliot, thank you for being on.
No, thank you. You know, I am a legend in my own mind, so it's only fitting that you have me on your show today.
And you're absolutely right. So you've served in a number of capacities, right? You're chairman of you were in 2018 chairman of the Long Island Board of Realtors for Fair Housing and Cultural Diversity. You're on the Town Huntington's Board of Assessment.
I'm also on the Town of Huntington Affordable Housing Advisory Board as well.
So you're obviously very active in the community. And we're going to touch on a lot of not just your real estate career, but just sort of how you've helped impact the community. Because a lot of realtors, right? They do their thing and then that's it. They sort of hide from the limelight a little bit, not so much with you. So we're going to get into that a little bit. You've been a realtor now for over 20 years.
Correct.
Okay. What drew you to the industry in the first place?
Well, like the Great Family Guy episode always says, realtors, never anyone's choice A. And certainly that was not my direction in life. I went to LIU Post. I was looking to possibly get into law enforcement or become a lawyer. My mentor, God bless, he'll be 88 years old this year.
Okay.
Very big real estate. I say I'm going to call him a mogul.
Okay.
I say he's like the Warren Buffett of Huntington.
Okay.
Very down to earth, undercover. You would never know that this man had such great wealth.
Mm-hmm.
And he was my mentor.
Okay. How did you meet him?
He was one of my best friend's fathers.
Okay.
And I was always drawn to him because he always had a million stories. He owned a tremendous amount of real estate, investments, and I really loved learning from him.
Sure.
And graduated college. I really had, no direction after that. I got a job in sales, and I would help him on the weekends with his apartment rentals. And he goes, you have a good personality. You should get into real estate. And I said, okay.
Yeah.
And there I was in 2003. I took the class. Back then it was 45 hours at a hotel conference room at a hotel in Woodbury. And 21 years later, here we are.
Here you are. So you've seen obviously a lot of changes. Like when you got in 2003, we were sort of, in that upward swing, right? Where, loans were just it was just comical.
Comical.
And you saw that great big run up and then you saw the big crash. You've obviously, if it's safe to say, over the last, in your 21 years of being a realtor, it's been a wild 21 years. I mean, we have, the 07, 08 run up. We have the COVID market. I mean, how have things just changed? How have you dealt with sort of the ups and downs, the literal ups and downs of this business?
I've gotten heavy. I've lost a lot of hair. So physically, it has taken a toll on me. But, to me, like I tell everybody, it's always about the relationship. When I started in this career, I started as a rental agent. And through rentals, I have now the sales and rental leader.
Sure.
So, building those relationships, whether it was with tenants that became buyers or landlords who became investors or sellers. So I would say that, I've been very fortunate because I have ridden the highs and the lows of this, and I am still here.
Yeah.
I go back to my real estate class. There was like 40 of us, and I would love to find out how many of us are still practicing real estate. I would say maybe me and maybe one other person.
If that. Yeah.
So yeah, it has been definitely a wild ride, but again, it's just, I'm a straightforward person, and I think people, feel that way. And all my business is 100% referrals.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, they say like the more things change, the more they stay the same,
Yes.
right? For you, even though the market has been crazy, even though we've seen all these weird, crazy things happen
Yep.
over the years, everything about how you've done business really hasn't changed. You've
Correct.
operated
It
the
always
same.
starts with the relationship, and then the referral, and then you can earn a living. I always tell the young people that come into this business, if you have it any other way, you're in the wrong industry. When I started out, I lived at home. I didn't have a mortgage. I was not married. I didn't have children. My wife was my girlfriend back then, so she's also been with me on the roller coaster, and she hasn't left me yet, which is wonderful. Thank you, Becky. But
You just celebrated your anniversary,
no,
right?
yesterday was our 20 years of being engaged.
Engaged,
Yes,
gotcha.
July 8th, we'll be married for 19 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's
So
been
the big
tough.
20 is coming
The big
up.
20, yes. She's already hinting that I have to take her to Egypt.
Okay.
So I'm saving that money.
Okay.
So we can go see the pyramids. But but no, it's been definitely, a ride. But again, going back to when I tell the young people, it's 3 to 5 years really and truly to establish yourself in this business. If you're coming in after watching, Flip This House, $1 million listing, you're kidding yourself, because it's not the reality of real estate. That's what they want you to see on TV. So
Gotcha. So as we talk about, your experience and you've done, tons of transactions, what is the most rewarding or the most noteworthy deal? It's the one that always kind of sticks out in your mind that, when you look back on your career.
I mean, there's been so many. I mean, I've really been blessed. I mean, I've helped CEOs, CFOs, presidents of major companies on Long Island, the first-time home buyer, the downsizer. But, a few years ago, I did one deal. The gentleman was an immigrant. And he always said to me, "Mr. Elliott, when I buy my house, I'm using you." And
Which is, people say stuff like that all the
that's
time.
generally the kiss of death.
Yeah,
I'm going to use you, and they ghost you. But this gentleman was true to his word, and he had 3 children and a wife, and I found him his house, and
How long ago was this?
this is probably about 4 years ago.
Okay.
Out of my career.
Okay.
This
So this
one-
is 2021.
2021.
Okay, where
Yeah.
things were really chaotic
Yes,
at that point.
But I was grateful that I got in the house. Of course, he had to go over asking, like
Sure.
still do today. And I still can see the kids running around the house. They were so excited and picking their rooms. And I literally started tearing up in the house, going
Sure.
like this is what it's about.
Yeah.
This is about like this man came here, and my dad's an immigrant. My father, he came to this country at 19 with nothing, and I was like, this is the American dream.
Yeah, of course.
And being able to help him and his family, that still resonates with me today. But I
Sure.
mean, certainly, I've helped, countless people,
course.
and everyone has a story, which I love.
Yeah. But that one, I can understand why that sticks out. Obviously, like you said, you've stayed true to yourself through this whole time. But that said, right, as the market shifts, as demands, priorities shift, there has to be some deviation in strategy, wouldn't you say? Like, just, do you feel, especially maybe in the last 4 years, have you seen yourself implement or operate with some different strategies that you otherwise didn't in the past?
So I'm going to tell you my secret. And I tell anyone this. Like, my wife's a veterinarian. What she does is life and death. What I do is, try to make people happy.
Sure.
And again, there's two letters in the English language. I've said this many times to people that mean completely different things. And that's F and U. And to me, being in sales, the F and the U is follow-up.
Yes.
And staying in touch with your past clients. I feel that so many people forget that. People, we're so disengaged with each other through social media or through texting. It's all fake. Like, there's no emotion to text messaging. I call.
Yes, you are a caller.
I'm
I've
a
learned
caller.
that dealing with you.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
I don't like texting because sometimes people misinterpret my text for like having like an emotion when it's emotionless.
Yeah.
So I pick up the phone, I have 400 people in my database, and generally with every 90 days, I make contact with those people. How are you? How's the kids? How's the families? Whether plans coming up. Like, it's simple. And people love that because, I can't tell you, like, I'm doing 3 deals right now that literally I sold them homes last year, and they referred me this year. One person referred me 2 buyers.
Of course.
And it's like, just
Yeah.
stay in touch.
Yeah.
That's the strategy.
Yeah.
And, until they tell me the other FU, I'm going to keep following up.
And so I want to really touch on that because it's so important, And listen, I'll be the first to say, like, I'm a texting kind of guy.
Well, you're also an audio message kind of guy.
I am an audio
you
message.
love the audio message.
Yes, I am an audio message because that does kind of, because I like to lead with emotion, so
Yes.
it does show that emotion, but I also like to be efficient, so I have found that balance. And I do think that a lot of times a phone call is warranted, right?
Yes.
And there's sometimes like, hey, I'm going in a million directions, and this is true for everyone. I just got to send a text, move on to the next thing. That said, right, when you're in the people business, you're in the relationship business, right? And so, you see this next generation of realtors coming out, and yes, they do some great things, right? But by and large, it's about building a deeper connection with people, right?
Correct.
And so many people, like you said, it's all surface level, right?
Correct.
It's all superficial.
Yes.
And, now we live in a day with texting, technology, social media, AI, right? More and more people always ask, well, how do I get that extra edge? It's like, it goes back to doing things that other people aren't doing, because people were probably doing a lot of what you were doing years ago.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
and those people have either retired or died.
Correct.
Right. And you're still doing it.
Both my parents were entrepreneurs. My mother, God bless, she turned 75. She still has her business, and it's in my DNA that it comes back to just a personal touch and always being there for the client. And a lot of my clients have become friends. One of my buddies, 4 years I've been showing him houses, and we're finally closing, God willing, next month. And he's my Islander friend. We go to a lot of Islander games together now, and that's what I want. I want to have clients that are friends.
Sure.
And we build those long-lasting relationships.
How do you not take it personal when there are those people that you've spent that time building that relationship and said, give you that kiss of death, I'm going to use you, only to find out they went with somebody else? How do you separate? Because that's got to be tough, right?
Okay, so I'm a big boy. If you call me to tell me, like, hey, listen, my wife's friends, second cousins, third wife's daughter just got a real estate license, I take it a little bit better. It's when, like the shock and awe, like people don't think I'm going to find out. If you're going to put your house on the market, I'm going to see it. Okay? I'm not a dumb, like, oh, look, there's the house I should have got the listing. So it hurts a little bit more when they don't give you that courtesy call to say, hey, Eliot, listen, you know what? There's another realtor in my area that sells more houses than you. I'm going to use them. Fine. Thank you. But it really gets to me when, like, you tell me I'm your guy, and then, then it comes out in Matrix, and it's like, and again, I'm not one of these agents where, like, I'm going to call you and be like, hey, you didn't give me the listing. I'm not that guy. Like, you didn't use me. Okay. I mean, the good part about most of that, when it does seldomly happen, is like, I'm never going to see them again. Like a friend or a family member, like that hurts because I may see you again.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to cut you off. I'm going to block you on all social media. I'm like, I mean, I'm never going to talk to you again. But, like most of the time, if they do that, I'm never going to see them again anyway. So it's out of sight, out of mind.
You just move on.
Yes.
We're in a very unique market. It almost seems to be becoming more and more unique since COVID, right?
Yes.
It's like you thought it couldn't get weirder, then it got weirder, then it just the way it is. What are some things, and I want to talk specifically about this area, the Huntington area,
Sure.
right? What is it that are some misconceptions that people are having about buying and selling right now in this area?
Well, I mean, first of all, it comes down to price. I think that if you price a house properly, you will get the action, and then you will let the consumers fight amongst themselves to get that house. I would also say on the buy side, I do try to educate my buyers that, dial down the payment. Don't look at price, because, and every like $10,000 is like, I think $60 a month.
Yeah.
So get rid of the Starbucks, go to Dunkin'. There's things in life you can cut out that you can, for another $10,000 or $20,000, be able to afford that house and hopefully outbid the next person. But I think education also, I will say that being the only Eliot that sells real estate in Huntington for the past 21 years, I have a lot of great relationships. So, when I do present an offer and, my name is attached to it, a lot of agents, understand that we're going to get to the finish line. And I think that's what, I definitely have had agents who have said to me, listen, you know what, we took a little less because it was you and your buyers were very well qualified because we know that it's going to get done.
Yes.
And it does.
It does.
It does.
And being a professional seller myself, right, there are deals that I have taken with less money, right, because it's the right agent, it's the right attorney, it's the right lender,
Correct.
And that can go a long, long way.
Absolutely.
People don't realize how much those relationships, they think everything is about price.
No.
But if you're dealing with seasoned people,
Yes.
they know, hey, there's a difference between getting to the finish line smoothly or trying to squeak out a couple extra dollars and it be torture the whole way.
Correct. And I always tell my when I'm on the listing side, I always tell my sellers that, just because it might be a higher price doesn't make it the best deal.
Yeah.
So you want to look at terms, conditions, and of course price, but I'd rather have, a solid offer that's a few dollars less than, take more and become problematic.
In terms of, we obviously are in a seller's market, right? I would say there was maybe a period of time 3 years ago in 2022 where interest rates spiked that maybe it balanced for a little bit, but that was short-lived.
Very short-lived.
Very short-lived.
Very short-lived. My feeling is that, when you're paying 23, 26% on a credit card, or you're paying, for a new car 11%, and you can buy, to me, an asset and not a depreciating one, at 6 or 7, it's still a good deal.
Yes, I know.
So this notion of like, oh, interest rates. I remember being, a little kid a long time ago when, interest rates were like, 14%.
Yeah. Do you remember what the highest they were in your career? Does that number stick out?
So when I bought my house 20 years ago, I was at 5.62.
Okay.
Then they spiked. I want to say it could have been like 8%.
Okay.
I want to say.
Okay.
But that was, a long time ago.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Are there any trends that you're seeing? People moving into the from the city to here. What do you think is driving people to Long Island?
So, I think it comes down to suburbia, safety. I don't want to go into schools because that's a fair housing issue. But certainly, education is a big one. I think, the city is facing issues. It's having problems. And I think that people from Queens and Brooklyn and the Bronx and even Manhattan are trying to, come out here and just, enjoy suburbia.
Do you think with like the chaos that we've had since COVID, right? And obviously the work from home phenomenon, which is starting to die back down a little bit, but still more present than, it was years ago. Do you think that's playing, a factor where people just say, they're understanding that quality of life is a little bit more important than maybe, having a museum around the block from you?
I absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I definitely think that, you think about how many people worked in the city, lived in the city, and now they're like, well, I'm only working in the city twice a week or 3 times a week. So, I'll take the train and enjoy life and have a backyard.
So I touched on this in your introduction. You're involved in local politics,
yes,
right? What prompted you to get involved with that while still building your business and doing everything, the demands of a realtor, a family, adding that on top of it?
I've been involved with local politics before I was even a realtor.
Okay.
I've been involved with Huntington and the county. Oh my gosh, probably 25, 26 years.
Really?
Yes.
Tell me more about that. Where did that start?
I started out, my friend at the time was Chad Lupinacci.
Okay.
I met Chad in high school at Walt Whitman, and he was involved, and he got me involved.
Okay.
And and then he went on to become assemblyman and then supervisor.
Yeah.
Through Chad, I got involved, and it's great. Knowing the different players, and being able to be valued and appointed to different positions within the town certainly the Board of Assessment Review.
Sure.
I've been on that board now for 6 years. I'm the chairman. The good thing is that the Town of Huntington residents should be happy. There's 4 realtors on the board currently out of 5. And, so we make sure that we run a tight ship.
Okay.
Certainly. And then I was also appointed and reappointed to the Town of Huntington Affordable Housing Advisory Board, where we do come up with, try to come up with solutions and ideas of, how we can make Huntington, it's not about affordability anymore. It's about attainability.
Yeah.
Because, we have, obviously housing here is very expensive.
Yes. Yes. To your point about Board of Assessment, right?
Yes.
Obviously, we had discussed earlier about the monthly payment, right?
Mhm.
And a big part of that is your property tax.
Correct.
Right? And a property tax, a couple $1,000s in property taxes, right? And reduction could mean, $200 to $300 a month savings, right?
Correct. Yes.
How are you looking at that in a way? And you said you guys run a tight ship. You want to, and to your point about affordability, attainability, how do you find that balance where, you want to make sure that, somebody's paying their fair share, but you also know it's tough for them, right?
Absolutely. I feel, whether it's seniors, whether it's first-time home buyers, but again, 73% of our tax bill is school, and with school, there are legacy costs of the pension system, whether it's firefighters, whether it's police, whether it's teachers, and I love all them, and I'm grateful and thankful that we have them. But 73% of our tax bill is school taxes, and then we have, the police. So, we do not reassess in Huntington, only if you give us a reason to.
Yes.
A lot of the assessments currently with the state of the market
Are behind.
are behind.
Yeah, I know.
So-
I just got my tax bill in and it went up because we did some improvements and, filed permits. And I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me. So I sent it over to a tax dispute company, right, to see, if they had anything to do. And they were like, like, good luck.
Yeah.
They just said, we're not taking this, right?
Yeah.
Because it was clear that, I was probably, even though my taxes went up compared to what I could get for the house.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's what we look at, so, if you come to us and you're like, well, there's a fire hydrant on my front lawn, or I live near the train station, or, I live by a fire department. I mean, these are all things that were there probably before you bought
Sure.
your house. So, we cannot give you a reduction because you have a fire hydrant on your front lawn, or you live next to a police precinct or by a fire.
Mhm.
If certainly, you can show us, like if we have you overassessed and you give us an appraisal or a contract of sale, then we can review it and you
Okay.
might be eligible for a grievance.
Okay.
But other than that, we discuss it, and if you deserve one, certainly we grant you one. And if you're telling me your house is worth $450 and your house is worth $1 million, like
Yeah, good luck.
Good
Yeah.
luck.
Okay. How has your political involvement helped you be more informed as a realtor?
I mean, certainly when I was a director for LIBOR and I served on legislative, that was great. We did change the law in Nassau County on co-ops. They have to give you a denial or an approval within a certain amount of time. It used to be that they could just let it go forever. So I was very proud to be on that committee, that we did meet with the legislators in Nassau County, and we did change that law. Whether it was lobby day up in Albany, meeting with Steve Stern, who's my assemblyman, or Jim Gorin, who was our former senator. But having that relationship where we can bring realtor issues to the people that are in power to do something to change that.
Okay. All right. That makes a lot of sense. Is there any policy or issue that you're passionate about that you feel would directly impact housing or local development?
Oh, good question. It's kind of like I'm a conservationist, but I understand that we need development.
Yeah.
I mean, currently the hot topic right now is in Melville with the overlay district. I don't think that all the rumors of 40,000 apartments that's all nonsense. I think that the really the last part of Town of Huntington that has the infrastructure to host a project of that size is the 110 corridor. So I am definitely for it, but we just need to make sure that we're good stewards to the future generations. I was very happy that there's a horse farm, a stable,
Okay.
off of West Hills Road called Stanhope, and a developer did want to purchase the property and build more senior living
Okay.
because we don't have enough of that on Long Island. And the county and the town did come together, and they did purchase that property.
Okay.
So that will be, of course, preserved for future generations as well. So I do think that when county and local government can come together and preserve pieces, I'm always happy about that.
Okay. To that point, though, I mean, what direction do you think that not just the town of Huntington, Long Island, Suffolk County for that matter, I mean, what direction that you think they need to go in order to improve affordability, right? While and obviously, making a concentration on urban development, but not, mortgaging the future, so to speak, because more and more people want to live here, but it doesn't seem like there's any place to put them.
So I'd like to see more legislation for blighted homes with eminent domain, where the town can come in, knock down the home. I know that there's a sewer project in the works. I think that's going to help the town tremendously. Because cesspools are just
Yeah.
But
Well, the cost for any kind of new septic system right now
it's crazy.
is crazy. And even if you want to upgrade your home, build it or expand it, you could fall subject to those rules.
Correct.
And that deters a lot of people from doing anything.
No, exactly. So I do think that we do need more sewers
Okay.
within the town. I'd like to see the town allow more multifamily dwellings, 2 families, ADUs. I mean, we do have I will say that Town of Huntington, we have a fantastic legal accessory apartment program, probably one of the best in the county. Smithtown does not allow accessory apartments. So, so when you do have, one thing I will say that when I was, as a member of the Affordable Housing Advisory Board, when I started there years ago, I was confused because back in the day, you needed 50 by 100 to have an accessory apartment. Then they changed it to 75 feet, 75 by 100. But if you applied for a variance, they would give you one. So the town, thanks to my board, brought it back down to 50 by 100. And also, the town code required that the owner live in the larger portion of the home, which I never understood.
Yeah.
Because if you're like a widow or widower,
Sure.
and you have a high ranch, for example, why would I need to live in a 3-bedroom when I can live downstairs in a 1-bedroom? So the law was changed.
Okay.
So now, as long as the owner lives in the dwelling, it does not matter which unit they live in. So that created, hopefully, more rental opportunities.
Sure.
But, I do think that, for homeowners and for, older people that want to stay in their home, but, need an income, we do have a fantastic program for accessory apartments in the town of Huntington.
Long Island residents, do you have a house that you want to potentially sell off market, your terms, your timeline, your way? Or do you know of somebody that could benefit from that? Then definitely give us a call. You can reach out to us at 631-333-SELL. The number is below, or visit our website at SuffolkCountyHouseBuyers.com. And for any deal that you refer over to us where you are not the seller, the first deal you refer to us, we pay a $5,000 referral fee. The second deal, we pay a $10,000 referral fee. And get this, the third deal that you refer to us, we will split the profits with you 50-50. And some of our deals are multiple 6 figures, so this can be a life-changing amount of money. It could pay for weddings, it could pay for college, anything that you choose from. So please take advantage of this great opportunity. Once again, we're looking for off-market opportunities where a seller wants to sell on their terms, their timeline, their way. Obviously, you're well-versed in local politics and rules and regulations. Do you think more realtors should be involved in politics in the way you are? Or do you think that, hey, it's really not for everybody? Because to be fair, right, the more, like, you speak about this topic, you can educate me, right? I'm involved in building, development, flipping, etc., right? But here I am, I'm learning things. Realtors seem to, they just want to do the bare minimum. They don't want to go out and educate themselves. You, in essence, have educated yourselves by being so involved. I mean, is that something that you think you should see more of?
So this is my only career. This is all I do. I'm not a door dasher. I'm not a dog walker. I'm not a massage therapist. The only business I am in is in real estate. And I am passionate about my industry. And to me, I think it's funny how we have members of LIBOR that don't know who the president of LIBOR is. They don't know who the CEO is. I mean, how are you in a field and don't know who the people that are in control of us, that work for us is? So, I do think that it's important that if you're in a career that you do educate yourself and you do try to educate others, because that's what we do. We're educators. And, it is sad to me, but again, the statistic is that 60% of realtors, don't sell one house a year.
Yeah.
And I always tell people, and please, like whoever you use as a realtor, Google them. Go onto Zillow, go onto homes.com, go onto realtor.com. See what they're selling. I mean, I feel like, people put more interest in Googling a menu at a restaurant, a Disney vacation, or the car they want to buy than who's going to sell possibly their biggest asset. Oh, how did you find that person? I don't know. My friend told me to use them.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I looked them up. They've sold no houses. Oh, okay, you're with the pro. Okay, good.
Yeah. No, it is remarkable, right? Like just, it's your biggest asset, right? It's everything that you've worked for.
Everything.
And to me, I feel as though the threshold is far too low.
Well, I've always said that, I mean, and I hate, again, like I work with a lot of professional people and then I work with a lot of non-professional people. We are the largest lobbying group in the state of New York is NYSAR, the New York State Association of Realtors. We have 7,000 members. They make it, and again, I'm sorry, I'm being very honest.
No, you have to be.
They make it very easy because they understand that the fallout rate is like 83 to 87%. So they want to continuously have this flow of new realtors coming in the business.
Does that bring more money in?
It brings more money in, but it also keeps the membership high. Like to me, people.
What does that do though?
Well, to me, they complain about $700 a year as dues. Now, if I am a professional, which I am, and I am earning a good living, which I do, I would want to see the dues to be raised to $5,000 a year. And I assure you, anyone that's not a full-time realtor that has other jobs, they're not paying that.
Of course.
They're not paying that. But because there's strength in numbers, they want to have a large amount.
What do those numbers do? It's just a vanity
It's just
play.
a vanity set. Oh, look, we're the largest lobbying group in New York. We have 67,000 members.
Yeah, and then what? And that and $3 gets you on the subway.
Correct. I mean, listen, again, my wife's a veterinarian, 8 years of schooling. I took a 45-hour course.
I know.
22 years ago. But again, they understand that the 83 to 87% of realtors will be out of this business within 24 months.
Okay. And the idea is just keep bringing them in.
Keep bringing them in.
Keep the numbers high.
Yes.
And get the money in. I mean, I understand bringing the money in, right? Because you need the money to be able to lobby for certain things. I get that part of it. But I don't understand why making the numbers high really does much. I guess they feel, well, if there's a large enough group, they will pay attention to us.
Our board is the third largest board in the country. I think we have either, and don't quote me, either 28,000 or 30,000 members. Mm-hmm. And I say to myself, like, how many of these people are really selling real estate?
Of course, yeah, they're not. Are there any zoning or planning decisions, not just in the town of Huntington, but countywide, that you think are coming down the pike that we should be paying attention to as realtors, as homeowners, residents, et cetera?
I mean, there's always something, certainly. Again, I think that, the sewers for Huntington, that's going to be very big for us.
Do you think that sewers is something that is, I mean, has there been discussion of trying to bring it throughout the entire county, or it's really more of a Huntington? I know they're doing it in Babylon too.
So Babylon, I mean, if you look at, for example, you look at a town like Patchogue, I mean, sewers revitalized that entire town. New Village could not have been built without sewers. And, you took a town that, I mean, when I was growing up, I mean, there was a lot of vacancies
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
it wasn't really, a destination.
Sure.
And now today,
Yeah, it is.
I mean, Patchogue is awesome.
Yeah, no, it's nice. You go there, it's vibrant, it's
I mean,
exciting. Yeah.
I mean, the vacancy rate is virtually like zero. I mean, every store is,
Mhm.
occupied. And so I do think, sewers is definitely important
Okay.
for Long Island's future.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I've done a number of new builds, right? And just to be clear, like, it's not if, when I do a new build, it's still expensive to, connect to sewers and things of that nature. It's a cost, right? But I mean, I'm doing a house out in East Hampton, right? It's a $40,000 septic system.
That's
You know what I
crazy.
mean? And it's not that big of a house either. It's 2,300 square feet, and it's a $41,000 septic system.
It's insanity.
You know what I mean? And that's for a new build, and I factored in that cost. But think about the person that, just wants to add another floor, right?
Right, yeah.
Because if we have, a housing crisis and someone says, I want to expand my family, but I've got nowhere to go because I can't find a house. All right, I'm going to put another level on my house. But then all of a sudden it's like, oh, wait a minute. If I do that, I've got to put this septic system in. That deters them too.
Oh, listen, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about is, do you think that the towns are doing enough to support first-time home buyers, working families? Because it is tough out there, right?
I mean, certainly I would say, after 45 years, Matinacock Court is finally up and, built, and they just had the lottery. So I know that that's going to certainly help, people get into something affordably. That's the word. I do think, again, that I would love to see more grants from either the state, the federal, the local level, trying to help, first-time home buyers. I know Huntington, we just passed a law that, gives first responders, I think the first right to get, I have to look into it more, but, there are things that, we're doing in Huntington, but certainly there's always more that can be done. I know, a number of banks, depending on, neighborhoods, will give grants, $10,000.
Yeah.
There's Sony May. So there are programs out there, but it's just, I know the Long Island Housing Partnership, they have a great program to educate. I do think that we, on a local level, have to do, a better job of educating people what's available to them.
The thing that I've always talked about, because people, other developers, flippers, they talk about how hard it is for the deal with the towns, right? And I say, yes, I get that, right? You go somewhere else and, getting a permit's very easy, building a new house is very easy, right? All of that. But I've also said, well, the flip side, no pun intended, is that it keeps people from overdeveloping, because there's a lot of builders, developers are like, it's not worth it. What I have to go through, what these towns make me do, new septic systems, things of that nature, I don't want to do this. So they pull themselves out of the game. And as a result, we now have this inventory shortage, right? Because other areas are now starting to see inventory levels rise, right? Florida, areas where it's very easy to build and overdevelop.
Yes.
You can't do that here.
No.
Overdeveloping is very, very difficult.
Yes. But I also feel that because of, like the aquifer, I guess, with it's harder, but but you do have a lot of people, the NIMBYism with not in my backyard.
Yeah.
And, so it's really, it's just a balance of trying to sustain the demand, but also, again, the environment.
Yes. But, it has kept values high, right? Because it's kept inventory down, because the ability to develop, right, is, severely mitigated by, a lot of, local laws. I mean, that's the truth, though.
Yes, but also, like, and again, I'm not trying to pick on anybody, but you look at like Thomas's horsemanship, that whole property over on Round Swamp Road that they developed into homes. I mean, nice houses, but again, they're like $1.6 million to $1 million. I mean, for the average person, I mean, that's not affordable.
No, it's not.
And unattainable. I mean, I couldn't afford a $2 million house.
No.
You know, so because the land value is so expensive that
The only way to make money is to build
is
something.
to build luxury.
Is to build luxury. And that's the thing. For me, the only way to make money, I bought something in Central Islip. I bought the land for $73,000. It was a knockdown.
Yes.
Okay. It was on sewers.
Oh, wow.
So I didn't have the cost for septic, but I had to spend money knocking the house down. So it was a bit of a wash. I'm selling the house for $445,000. I'm not making a ton on it. It really wasn't worth my time. You know what I mean? Now, on the other hand, I'm building something out in East Hampton where, I bought a knockdown for $575,000, but we're looking to get closer to $2 million.
Yes.
And the houses that I built in Central Islip and East Hampton, size-wise, are about the same.
Wow.
They're about the same. The only difference is one has nicer finishes. We have a pool house. We have a gun night pool. So we have some add-ons. But at the end of the day, I have a much bigger disparity, right? So the only way I can make money for building is doing luxury. Otherwise, I have to, buy existing inventory, renovate it, and resell it. So has there been a number floated around that you've said, hey, we need X amount of units at X price to be able to help soften this affordability crisis? Have you heard that floated?
I have not.
Okay.
But again, it's interesting because when the news speaks about, they talk nationally. I mean, Long Island.
I know. It's his own bubble.
It's his own. Yeah. I mean, so when people say Florida and, it's like, it's a, Florida has land till the eye. We don't have that.
Yeah.
We don't have that.
No, we don't.
So,
but we also have, in Florida, I know that like you can go down to the local building department, right? You get your building permit very, very quickly, right? Like, so your turnover, it makes it more appealing for people to overdevelop. It is not appealing here to develop, All right. So I want to kind of circle back to just, the traditional real estate buying and selling. A lot of buyers in today's market, right? They're beating their heads against the wall, right? Okay, you and I just worked on a deal, right? I think it was a good experience for you.
It was great.
It was a great experience on my end.
A beautiful product.
It came out great. We had awesome buyers, right? And I didn't actually know this, but they're tremendously notable in the lacrosse world.
Yes,
right.
Said that.
Celebrities in the lacrosse world, and here they were having the same problems of, having to overbid. They originally were not. They were our second offer.
Yes.
Right? They lost on the house originally, and we ultimately circled back and, was very happy we did that. But, even the people, right, like who are extremely successful, have all the qualifications in the world, they're still running into issues. What's your advice for buyers in this market right now?
Okay, again, my advice to buyers is don't play games. If you love the house, buy the house. Dial down on payment, rates. Listen, at some point, historically, rates come down. You could refinance. Don't lose out on a house you love. I just recently had a house in Huntington Station. Great house. My listing, we were asking, $629. We had crazy offers on this house. And we went with a very, very good offer. Now, the other agent that didn't get the house was playing games. So we're asking $629. They come in at $630. Then they come to $660. And then after we accepted the higher offer, they come to $700. And it's like, if you could have afforded the $700 from the beginning, and I'm telling you, we had multiple offers, don't jerk around. Just go to where you can go to. And they would have got the house. And instead, the person who came up with the best offer initially, they won.
They won. Okay. And it was less than what they.
It was a little less.
Okay.
But my seller felt like.
Yeah, I know.
And I kept having to go back to them. 630, 660, obviously you present
You're
offers.
like an auctioneer.
It was, yeah. I mean, obviously, any offer that comes in, I present certainly, but just if you love the house and it's perfect for you, just go to where you can go and not play around.
So, best advice, right, for buyers, don't play games.
Don't play games.
What about for sellers?
Sellers, again, your house does not have gold nails. You have the stainless steel kind that you get at Home Depot. you got to price your house correctly.
Yeah.
I always give the options on a listing appointment. We can, market your house at what we think will get buyers, or we can go a little under and, have the market fight over it. And that's my strategy.
Yes.
And it does work,
And
as,
it does,
as,
yes.
as you know.
I know.
But you do have a lot of these sellers that just, and I'm seeing price reductions. I mean,
Well, because you started too high to begin with. You
Correct,
shot for
correct,
the moon.
correct.
And now it's stigmatized because every house, typically, if priced well,
Yes.
will go.
Oh, absolutely.
And if it doesn't go, now people are wondering why.
What's wrong with it?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a house in my area. The agent started crazy number. Now they're down, and I'd like to call him up and be like, "You're still like $100,000 too much." Not that I would do that, but I mean, like, now the house is just sitting. It's stale.
Yeah.
And and as you said, I mean, if I can't sell your house within like 20 days, if you listen to me,
If you listen.
you listen to me, I will sell your house within 20 days, if not less.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I have seen that. And, I go through this, right, with houses that I buy. We buy a lot of off-market houses, and I have, sellers come to me, right, and like, well, I just did, this bathroom, and I put in this kind of vanity, and it's like, okay, that's nice, but it's not really going to translate into a higher price for you.
It's like my mother. I love my mother, but I always tell her when she's ready to sell her house, I'm going to give her a great agent, because that's not going to be me. And my mother,
I got a funny story for you in a second.
We did a room in her house back in 1999.
She lives nearby?
Yeah, she's in Melville.
Okay.
And we did like a room in her house back in 1999, and it's called the new room.
Okay.
Now the new room has already like graduated college. It's in the workforce.
Yep.
And my mom always goes, "But I have the new room," and I'm like, "Mom, your new room is 26 years old. It's not new anymore. It's old."
Yeah.
So, but no, I'll get her a great realtor when she's ready to sell, whenever that will be.
Well, it's funny because when my mother-in-law sold her house, it was in Miller Place. My wife is my real estate attorney.
Yes.
Right. And my wife got a colleague of hers to represent her mother in the sale. Would not actually get involved in the sale.
Yeah. No.
Just felt as though, based on everything, it was just best to have somebody else handle it.
Yes, have that buffer.
If you can wave a magic wand, right, and change something about the towns, and it could keep this specific to Huntington, or it could be across Long Island, what is it that you would want to see that you think would have the greatest ROI for the community?
Well, I don't have the greatest ROI, but I think many, many, many people, including myself, would be very happy, would be nice roads. I feel that, Depot Road, Jericho, Melville Road, 110. We need nice roads. I just think that, people, they feel that there's a few things that government should be good at, and that is obviously garbage pickup, beaches, parks, and roads. I mean, I can't tell you, I'm in my truck and I'm driving down 110, and it's a state road, and it's like blah 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 blah, and then like whether it's Depot Road or Melville Road, it's just all the money we pay in taxes. Why can't we just have nice, beautiful paved roads? And it's, I think that people, I know people like, garbage is critical. I like how I put my pails out and it disappears. The beaches, the parks. I think the town did a phenomenal job of renovating Heckscher Park.
Yes, really nice job.
I mean, people love outdoors. I mean, pickleball. I do not play pickleball, but certainly the town has heard the residents.
Yes.
And whether it's Wolf Hill Park, Melville Park, people love pickleball, and the town, has heard that calling.
Yes.
And they went ahead, and even off Old Country Road, I forgot what park that's called, but there's pickleball, and people are grateful for the pickleball.
All right. I'm also late to, well, I'm going to say late. Have not arrived to the pickleball party. But I know a lot of people who do, but between the way our business is, my children and everything else, I just don't have the time.
No, between, you have two daughters, and between dance and taekwondo and aerial silks, and it's just, it's a lot. And real estate and dealing with people and trying to have a life and be with my wife and my family.
Yeah.
I mean, the phone just
Do you struggle with staying present? Because that's a thing that I have a hard time with, being in real estate and there's a million things going on.
I mean, I took my family. My daughter turned 10 in May. We went to Disney World for 5 days. I was on the phone half the time.
Yeah.
And it sucks, because there's like no boundary anymore. Like back in the day, we had these things called beepers.
Yeah.
Where we had to find a payphone.
Yeah.
And now today, it's like people call me at 11 o'clock at night, and I'm stupid. And I pick up the phone, or they text me at midnight, and I text them back because I'm a crazy person. My wife will tell you that. But
having worked with you, I realize you are. No, I think it's a good crazy.
No, it's a good crazy.
It's a good crazy, but it's there. That's for sure.
Listen, for a shy, introverted kid growing up, to think that I would be where I am today.
Yeah.
I mean, it's truly remarkable. And, I'm a very competitive person. I love, getting listings. I love winning.
Yes.
Certainly, I don't think I could found a better career choice in my life for all of that.
The next guy or girl that's out there that's like you, right? That didn't think that this is the route that they would go down. More shy, more introverted, right? They want to have a bigger role in shaping their community. They want to make an impact the way you have. What's your advice for them?
My advice for them is, be comfortable who you are. It took me a very long time. I mean, this is my voice. The way I hear my voice is not the way that you hear my voice. Yes. And I was bullied. I mean, it was awful what I went through in my life. And I'm grateful I'm still here, certainly. But you got to be comfortable who you are. I am who I am.
Yes.
I have a loving wife. And
you make no apologies
children's,
for it.
And you know what? You like me, you don't. You want to say things about me that are not true?
Go
right ahead.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Care less.
Yeah.
I could care less.
I know. I'm not a tattoo person, but if I was ever going to get a tattoo, it would say something to the extent of not for everyone.
Yeah.
Because I'm not for everyone. And I'm okay with that.
And I'm okay with, me being me. It took me a long time. I would say, don't be shy. Let people know what you do every day of your life. I'm not a secret agent. Everybody knows I'm a realtor. I've used social media, very well,
yes.
but also old school techniques of calling. And I am very involved in my community. I got the Fireman's Fair I'm sponsoring coming up in another week or so. I'm very involved in my school district. I probably give about $20,000 a year back to my community.
Wow.
And you know what, though? But my community has taken care of me.
Yes.
And you know what? I cannot tell you how many people say, call Eliot, call Eliot, call Eliot. And I mean, I am grateful for that.
Yes.
So you know what? As long as you work hard and you hustle and, you have goals in your life, you will succeed in this. It is not overnight.
No, it's not.
And so many people think it is, and they quit because, they have to get that paycheck on a weekly basis where, obviously, I do get a consistent check,
yes.
but it's not a weekly check.
No, it's not. It's not. So I think I know the answer to this question, but who inspires you most?
Oh, well, definitely my family.
Mm-hmm.
Becky has been with me from the beginning. My daughters, even though they insult me and tell me how
I've witnessed this now.
Big back guy. Yeah, you are a witness.
Week.
My children are very, they're I love them, but they are not nice to daddy, even though daddy gives them everything in the world. But no, they inspire me. Certainly, I'm a faithful person.
Yes.
So it's, it's faith, it's family, it's community. And no, I'm just truly grateful and blessed every day of my life, good or bad. I lost my best friend, Seth, at 17 years old. It's going to be 30 years, July 25th. And, he was robbed of a life. And I am very blessed that I have mine. And people always say to me, oh, you're nonstop. And I'm saying, listen, I'm running until I can run no more.
Yeah.
So,
What's next for you in real estate, civic life?
Yeah. Community, certainly. My goal is I got probably about another 10 or 12 years left in me in real estate. I'd like to retire.
Would you still be active in civic life after that?
No, not here. My goal is that once my kids graduate high school, I think we're going to probably head South Carolina.
Okay. Not Florida.
Not Florida.
Okay.
It's too hot for me in Florida. They got bugs and they got
gators.
Gators, yeah. But no, my thing is I'd like to, get a condo like North Myrtle Beach on the ocean.
There you go.
Get a job as a security guard.
Yeah, you could do that.
And just like sit in a condo and be like, have a nice day.
Yes, yes.
You know, beautiful weather out.
Yeah.
Because to think about the fact that in my 21 years in this business, how much talking I have had to do, how much texting and emailing and worrying about appliances and out of possessions.
Yes, all of that.
And all the minutia that, you know, buyers and sellers have no idea behind the scenes of what we go through. So I can give them a stress-free experience while I am stressing out. I'm looking forward to the day where I can just, you know, and then all my hair's going to come back.
Yeah, then
all my hair
back.
No stress, and all my hair's going to come back.
That's it. So listen, you know, we worked together on a deal. I could say firsthand, did a phenomenal job. I loved working with you. I look forward to working with you again.
No, me too.
And, you know, having you on the show, seeing the impact that you've had, you know, on the community. And like I said, what I like most about you is you know, I'm just going to call it what it is, an industry full of phonies, right? You know, you are who you are, and that's it. You know?
And I will say on that, you know, certainly I think being authentic, you know, is paramount.
Yes.
Because people can smell the BS.
They can.
And you know, you got to be authentic. And trust me, my whole life is about putting clients' needs first, you know, being communicative, answering the phone, responding to emails and text messages. I mean, so many people don't do that.
Yes.
And it drives me crazy because that's just not the way that I'm wired.
Of course.
So.
All right. Well, Ellie, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me on. It's great.
I appreciate it.
No, I can't wait to see this.
All right. Well, thanks so much.
Yep.
Guys, stay tuned for upcoming episodes. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this, okay? And as always, if you have a house to sell, please reach out to us. Give us a call, 631-333-SELL, or visit our website at SuffolkCountyHouseBuyers.com.